To say that Europe is facing sustainable mobility issues is like saying that a volcano is somewhat hot. Many countries are working on innovative ideas to tackle this challenge. But if everyone is reinventing the wheel on his own, we're wasting time and money, even if it's a really nice wheel. Policymakers all over Europe are struggling with the same challenges, like sustainable mobility, innovation, economic development, and resource efficiency. Luckily, Europe has a solution that allows regional and local authorities to cooperate, a program called Interreg Europe. Instead of having to do it all on your own, you can learn from each other and bring this experience to your own region. The program can fund your project. Now we got your attention. So subscribe to our community to be inspired by what other regions have done in the past. Find project partners, build a project together, and get funded. Let's share solutions for better regional policies.
Welcome from Lille, France. My name is Petra and I will be your host this morning. I'm very happy you joined us at our online cooperation forum to learn about the 5 best tips how to make your application a success. Before we start, let me welcome also our program director, Erwin Severis, who wants to say a few welcoming words. Erwin, please join me.
Good morning and welcome to our online event Europe Let's Cooperate. Today we have more than 350 participants registered from all over Europe. We will give you information about the Interreg Europe program, which is designed for you and your regions to design and deliver better policy. My team will discuss and present you today the details of the third call for proposals. During these 2 hours, we would like you to be active and to connect to each other, to exchange ideas and to form partnerships for future projects. Enjoy the event, learn, connect and get inspired.
Thank you, Erwin, for these welcoming words. I'm back here and I'm very happy that you are eager to learn about our 5 tips. But before we get to it, I would like to say that I'm not alone here. I have many people who will be helping me to get your questions and to get them to our speakers. Please have a look at our moderators who will be taking your questions and helping us. So, this is Josephine and Irma, who will be taking your questions and posting comments on Slido that you can see on the side of the screen where you can follow our web streaming now. Before we get to the real information, I have some good tips how to make the best out of this event. First, we'll give you the information. There will be presentations about our program, about the best tips, and also about the various assistance tools that we have for you. You already have the presentations ready, so you can have a look at them. The second thing that is very important, ask us questions. We have an application on the side of the streaming that is called Slido. If you use a computer and you also have a smartphone, maybe you can watch us in the large screen on your computer and open Slido on your telephone. Just type in the hashtag for this event, Europe Cooperates, and ask your questions or send your comments or participate in polls. It is always good to put your name when you ask the question so that we know who we reply to and you can also find the answers to it. You can also like questions that somebody else asked so that you don't have to repeat yourself too much. Make the questions short. There is a text limit, so think about it as a tweet on a Twitter. That will be very helpful. Slido is also very good for polls. I see that many of you already participated in our first poll when we asked you where you are at the moment. And maybe that's what we can show you right now. So we have a poll for you, and I can see that we have many people from Italy, we have people from Spain, we have from Belgium, France, Greece, Hungary, Finland, Denmark, Poland, Portugal, so really from all over Europe. So this is wonderful. Thank you for participating in the poll. If you missed this possibility, you can still participate. We'll be launching a number of them. And at this moment, I will ask our moderators to launch another poll. A poll where we ask you to tell us what is the one word that summarizes the objective of your participation in this event. Is it improving policy? Is it help SMEs? Is it cooperation? Is it networking? Please just tell us what is this objective. And as you will see in a little while, we'll make a little word cloud out of your words and we'll share that with you in a moment. But before we get there, I have a few more tips how to make best use of this event for you. After we finish our presentations, we'll have the time for networking. That's one of the main objectives of our events today. We want you to get connected with all those people from around Europe. And we'll have chat rooms where we will try to put you together so that you can exchange, share ideas, and maybe look for partners. Another important element for this is to think about updating your profile in our community. Because when people meet you in the chat room, they will be looking for you among the members that we have in our community. So put a picture there, update your contact details so that you can follow up on all those contacts that you make today. And my final point at the start is make this really a community forum. Take a picture of you following us and post it on social media. Just put it on your Facebook or on Twitter and put hashtag Europe Cooperates so that we can share all these pictures with others and you can see who else is also watching the show with you. But I'll stop at this point and it's time to share the results of the second poll. So I'll ask our moderators to stop the poll and let's have a look. What are some of the results? Okay, there was a technical glitch when our poll disappeared, but I have to say that the key word that was there was learn and network. So we are exactly here for that. And let's now move to the learning part. I will stop here and I have the pleasure to welcome here in the studio my colleague Petra Geithner, who will say a few words about our program and about the third call.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this event also from my side. It is my pleasure now to introduce you to the main features of the Interreg Europe program, as well as of this third call for proposals, and get you ready for submitting an application to our program. But what is the Interreg Europe program all about? First of all, what is important to know is that the Interreg Europe program is all about exchange of experience. It is not about investment, it is not about experimentation, it is not about research. It is about learning, it's about exchanging good practices. For example, you might face a particular challenge in your region and you wonder how to solve it. Why not getting in touch with other partners from all over Europe who might be facing exactly the same challenges and that might be happy to share with you possible solutions and to elaborate on them together with you. It's also important to be aware that Interreg Europe is a program for the programs. It's a program for the other structural funds programs. The budget of the Interreg Europe program is only 359 million euro. But with this relatively small amount, the aim is to support the other structural funds programs, be it the Investment for Growth and Jobs programs, be it the other European territorial cooperation programs. Because the aim is to improve regional development policies in general, but in particular those that are developed and financed under the structural funds programs. Contrary to many other European territorial cooperation programs that you might know, the Interreg Europe program is also characterized by its geographical scope. It is a pan-European program. It is a program that allows a Swedish partner to cooperate with a Portuguese one, as well with a Greek one, as much as with an Irish one. It covers all of the 28 European member states, as well as Norway and Switzerland, and it's even possible for other partners outside this geographical area to participate, but then with their own financing. The Interreg Europe program focuses on 4 thematic topics. In fact, these themes are the ones that are most often chosen by the structural funds programs under the Goal 1 objective, the Investment for Growth and Jobs programs. There's first of all the research and innovation theme. It is also possible to work on the theme of SME competitiveness. It is also possible to develop projects to develop a low-carbon economy. And last but not least, there is the theme of environment and resource efficiency. Who is the target group of Interreg Europe? Well, first of all, the main target group are the managing authorities and related bodies that are in charge of managing the structural funds programs. Then, of course, also the regional and local authorities, because they are the ones that are the owners and the developers of the regional policies. To a lesser extent, it's also possible for agencies, institutes, or private non-profit organizations to get involved in an Interreg Europe project, as long as the link to the regional policy can be demonstrated. The aim is to connect all these different policymakers all over Europe and to allow them to learn from each other to improve their policies. The Interreg Europe program is structured around 2 main actions. There are first of all the projects, and this I will develop in a moment a bit further. Then there are also the policy learning platforms. It's our new feature. In fact, it is a kind of help desk. Those that might not want to get involved in a project that will last 3 to 5 years, that only are looking for a particular solution for a particular issue, they might then address these questions to the help desk of the policy learning platforms and get some specific expertise or pre-reviews from this platform. But this is something that is currently under development and that further information will follow shortly. But today I would like to focus on the projects because that's what the third call for proposals is all about. So, the projects. To submit a project, you will need at least 3 partners. Ideally, to make the learning process efficient and also interesting for you, there are between 5 and 10 partners in a partnership. At least half of the partners must address structural funds programs. The other half may also address regional policy, development policies, more generally speaking, from their region. The projects are structured into 2 phases. First of all, there's phase 1, which has a duration between 2 and 3 years. It's all about exchange of experience through study visits, peer reviews, workshops, staff exchanges. This is really the core learning element in the project. The output of the first phase is an action plan. There is supposed to be 1 action plan per region. This action plan is then afterwards implemented with other means, through your general regional development funds or under your structural funds program financed by the EU. What Interreg Europe finances during this phase 2, where you are implementing your action plan, is the part of monitoring the implementation. It allows you and your partners to stay connected, to still exchange on how well the implementation of the action plan is going. So the activities are very limited, the budget is also very limited. Sometimes it will be possible also to include some pilot actions. But this is not the focus, and certainly it's nothing that has to be developed already in your application. If there are pilot action, it's something that would follow much later at the end of phase 1. So nothing to be foreseen for this at this stage. Let me now focus on the features of the third call for proposals. The most important thing to know is, first of all, the deadline for submission. It is on the 30th of June at 12 o'clock, Central European Time. Please make sure to be on time. If you submit at 5 minutes past 12, the system will already be blocked. If you submit already on the 29th of June or the 28th of June, even better, because should you encounter any last-minute issue, then you are sure that you still have time to solve it. The procedure now is fully online. There is an application form that you can already open from already today. You can fill it in, you can save it, and continue working another day. And then there are also the templates for the partner declaration and the letter of support that are available for download in this system. Afterwards, you would upload these documents, and then you would submit the application form filled in the system together with these documents by the 30th of June at the latest. The good news also is that all investment priorities are still open in this third call. So you can develop projects around research and innovation, SME competitiveness, environment and resource efficiency, and low-carbon economy. Nevertheless, what we like to mention and underline is that applications on the topic environment and resource efficiency are particularly encouraged. So if you're working on it, please continue, and we would be happy to see you coming forward in this third call for proposals. Some of you might wonder, why is there this specific emphasis on this topic? There is, of course, a budget reason for this. The member states, the partner states in the Interreg Europe program decided to share the budget of the Interreg Europe program, the 359 million euro, equally across the 4 themes. Today, 147 million are still available. However, they are no longer equally available under all these themes. The theme that has already been the most made use of and most applications approved under is the one of innovation. There are only 23 million euro left. But for the topic of environment, there are still 47 million euro left, so maybe the competition will be less hard on this topic than for the others. In general, we invite you also to have a look on our website what projects have been developed already within the themes. If you want to submit within a theme that has been already where a lot of projects have already been approved, have a look what these projects have been working on and try to demonstrate why your project is different, why it is still of added value. Within these themes, we notice also that there are a few topics that have been that are so far underexploited, although they are very high on the European agenda. So if you are working on the topic of financial instruments, on renewable energy, or on water management, this is a very good point, and we would be very happy to see your application coming forward. We are also very proud to be able to say that already actors from 80% of all European regions are involved in the Interreg Europe projects. However, let's also talk about the 20% of the regions that have not yet been involved. You see here on the map the regions that are less involved, that haven't been involved yet. If you are from one of these, please feel encouraged to get involved in a project and to apply in this third call for proposals. For further information, please refer also to the annex of our terms of reference. Let me finish with some 3 last points of attention. First of all, make sure to download and read the program manual. This is really our bestseller, and it's free of charge. You can find it on our website, and it contains all the information. We have compiled all the information you need from the application stage till the closure of your project in this single document. Please be also aware that the application form is the only document which we will use for our assessment of the projects. No other documents, links, etc. can be used. So don't submit anything else with your application form apart from the partner declaration and the letters of support. Make sure that the application, therefore, is self-explanatory. Don't hesitate, for example, to let a colleague read it before you submit. Another important issue to know is also that eligibility is an important issue in Interreg Europe program. Some people have faced issues of ineligible projects in the first and the second call. The main reason for this were the letters of support, which were entirely missing or incorrect, or the partner declarations, which were not correctly filled, where, for example, the amount was lower than necessary. That's also why I encourage you to submit as early as possible, which leaves you time for checking carefully that all documents are provided and that they are correctly filled. Don't leave anything to the last minute. So thank you very much for your attention, and we are very happy if we would see then your application coming forward during this third call for proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, Petra, very much for all these, all the presentation and all the information. I have quite a number of questions from our viewers. Thank you very much for sending them and sending your comments. So, the first question that got the most likes, how to motivate partners from the consortium to be a coordinator? Alina asks us. What would you suggest? What can we say? How to motivate someone to become a lead partner?
Well, I think if you are a lead partner, it allows you also to drive the project. Maybe you also have been partner already in the past, then you already know how the things go. So someone, I think, who is already a little bit experimented, who has been involved in the past, might also be the most suitable to take over the role of the lead partner. Besides, I think also that the lead partner principle, the lead partner function is a very important function. Nevertheless, maybe it's not that heavy as it seems. There are also contracts, partnership agreements, which allow you also to delegate certain tasks within the partnership.
Thank you.
I think it's important that one doesn't think just because you are lead partner, it means that you have to do everything alone. Tasks shall be shared equally in the partnership.
Thank you. Thank you for this answer. It was quite extensive. So it's leading the project. That's what can encourage someone to become the leader. Now, we have another question. Jurga asked us, what do the members of the stakeholder group have to do in the project? Can you explain that a little bit, maybe?
Well, what is important is that there's a lot of knowledge, first of all, exchanged in the context of the project. And there are these stakeholders that are also involved in developing the policies, with whom this knowledge shall be shared as well. Maybe they will not go along on every partnership meeting, but then it's important to share the knowledge that you got aware of during these partnership meetings within the stakeholder group. So it's an involvement in individual meetings within your region, and once in a while maybe also going along on a study visit or similar.
Okay, so it's really the regional element of the project.
Absolutely, yes.
Great. And I have one last question before we move on. Can pilot actions be financed?
They can be financed, but this at a later stage. I think at this stage it's very important not to think about pilot actions.
Okay.
Anyway, pilot actions, if they are developed under phase 2. And there, for the moment, the actions are pre-filled. You cannot do any amendment about it, and there you will see the pilot actions are not mentioned.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for the presentation and for answering questions of our viewers. Thank you, Petra. Thank you very much for sending your comments and sending your questions. We'll be doing our best to reply them all, either in writing or with our presenters, our speakers here. Please remember that you have the presentation that Petra just gave you available on the website. And now it's time to have a look at the 5 tips, at the 5 top tips how to make your application a success.
We're good? Okay, I'd like to thank you all for being with us this morning. I'm going to start with you, Nicholas. I know you're going to take us through the top 5 tips to make a successful application, and we're going to start with the first one. But before that, I'd like you to explain to us why do you think it's important to share them with our audience today.
Thank you. Good morning to everyone. Yes, indeed, we wanted to be as useful as possible today in the preparation of the third call. This is the reason why we discussed internally with the team what could be the most interesting tips to pass to you. Maybe I have it's perfect. Thank you very much.
I'll get it for you so that you can manage it yourself.
Thanks a lot. So the first thing was an internal discussion. We were discussing what could be interesting. And we realized that at the end of the day, we should ask the most interesting people, the people that are successful in this program, so the approved partners. So we defined these 5 tips, and we made a very short survey to ask the opinion of the approved projects. 105 partners answered to rank a bit what are the most useful tips. So in fact, there's no real clear winner. Maybe there's other tips we could also pass. But I would just mention that Be Specific arrived first in the ranking of the project. They consider it as the most important tips.
Very good. In fact, we're going to start off with that. Tip number 1, that is be specific. What does it exactly mean?
Yes, you have to select the right door. What we mean by be selective, it's really in relation to the partnership first. That's what I'd like to insist on. And as you all know, the partnership is a core element of a project. It determines everything in the project. It determines the policy instruments you're going to address. It determines the regional context. So if you miss this step, you miss your chance to be approved in this program. So this is very important. What we would like to highlight as the main messages behind Be Selective, it's to involve policymakers, as Erwin explained this morning. This is a main target group, the body in charge of the policy instruments. But we all know that it's not always easy to have them on board. So if you don't have them on board, if someone else is coming from the region, then you need to explain in the application form that this partner, this organization, has the power to influence the policy. In our jargon, we call that the policy relevance. And of course, Interreg Europe is the only Interreg program where all EU regions are eligible. So you have to be careful to try to find partners from all over Europe in your projects. And at the end of the day, Be Selective is to learn how to say no. Sometimes you will have to say no to some organization that wants to join your partnership.
Let's put this into perspective and also take the opportunity to ask Manita, who is with us here, how did you select your partners for Soirée? And maybe you can share with our audience your main advice for applicants to try and build their partnership.
Thank you. Thank you, Pauline. We started with an outline and a certain abstract in which we emphasized very clearly our aim, our objectives, and the aim of the project. So that is easy for potential partners to see what and who we are looking for. So be very, very clear, and it doesn't be a book or a manual. Just one or two paper is sufficient. For searching partners, we were using our network, we were visiting the seminars of the GS, and we are also using the advices of our national agents. So it was very useful also to ask them advice.
And how did you build this relationship? By visiting them and meeting them in person?
Yes, it is necessary to meet them in person. Absolutely, absolutely.
In your project, your region is represented by 2 organizations, your own organization, the Water Board, and the Managing Authority of Structural Fund. Was it easy for you to involve the Managing Authority as a partner? And what advice would you have for somebody who has difficulties in getting the Managing Authority on board?
The advice I would give is, first of all, invest in personal relations and in personal relationship. Know who your partner will be and That's it. And then you can interest them in their interest and and make them aware of the possibility they will have in the program to improve improve the operational program, to involve stakeholders who are affected by the operational program, and make them aware of the possibility to get funding, and also convince them that it is nice to operate in such a program.
Okay, Nicola, let's move on to our second step, and that is meet your partners. How do you go about this?
Well, it's very easy to understand. I think we have almost covered it with the first discussion. At the end of the day, it's about people. Of course, you have institutions, partner, organization, but it's about people. And it's very important in the preparation phase that you invest time and resources in checking whether you have the right people and organization around the table. For this, I mentioned 3 main elements. It's important that lead partner check the real motivation and commitment of the partner. You can have the best people through emails, they are the best in the world, but when you meet them at the end of the day you realize that maybe this is not the best partner you were expecting. You need also to have shared interest on the topic addressed. Is it really the same river management issues that you want to address all together? Do you have enough synergies and similarities between the different regions? And of course, it's important to know what exactly these partners will do in the project, how they're going to contribute, what they can learn, but also what they can give in terms of good practices, in terms of experience to the rest of the partner.
Exactly. Manita, in fact, already highlighted how important it is to physically meet your partners. And how did this meeting help in the presentation of your project?
It was very helpful to organize a meeting. We invite the potential partners to our meeting in Holland, so we got acquainted with each other and to look if we share the same values, the same ambition, if there's a certain click. Also, it is important to take into consideration the requirements of the program. So they come from the east, the south, the west, and of course you need a European coverage. And it is so important to look into their eyes. You don't, I think I speak now for me personally, you don't marry a person you've never seen before.
So we are back in the studio after the first 2 tips, and because we have some questions to reply to. But before that, let me say what these tips, where they come from. We've been to Malta last week, and that's where we presented these tips. And we want to share them with you also in this online version of this cooperation forum. But now I'd like to invite to the studio my colleague, Jason Martinez, our policy officer, to address some of the questions that you have sent to us. So, Jason, if you can come.
Good morning, Petra.
Good morning, Jason. So, we have quite a number of questions from our viewers, and thank you for them. So, can you tell me, Petra was presenting the underrepresented regions in her presentation, and we have a question from Eleni. The picture of underrepresented regions was not too clear. Is it possible to share the list with us?
Yes, of course. This list of underrepresented regions is included in our terms of reference for the 3rd call. So there, if you go to the document, the people interested will see how many regions are still not involved in Interreg Europe projects.
Thank you, super. So if you just go to our application pack, you will find this document right there. And we have a second question. Zoltan is asking, the action plan is per region, as in the presentation, or per policy instrument?
Well, the action plans should be developed per policy instrument. So it's one action plan per policy instrument.
Okay, so that was a simple answer. Now, Katrin is asking, are there any guidelines for dividing the budget? For example, academic versus stakeholders or across countries?
Well, I'm not a finance officer myself, so it's a tricky question. I think that this should be answered by a finance officer, meaning that there are guidelines in the program manual on how to build the budget for the project, and there they will see how the different budget lines and the different activities should we prepare.
Okay, so maybe you can come to one of our question and answer sessions that we have on Fridays with this specific question, and that's when this question can be answered by our finance officers. But before I let you go and you can watch the other 3 tips, I have one more question, and that is, what is the best way to make a non-profit organization participate in a project?
Well, we think that based on experience, it's important to dedicate time to prepare the application form. So the partner that would like to involve a non-profit organization would have to meet with them, explain the objectives of the project, and how they could contribute to the exchange of experience.
And they actually be partners?
Of course, they are eligible partners.
Super.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll close for the moment here and let you watch the other 3 tips from Malta. So enjoy.
Okay, and with that note, we move on to our next tip for a successful application. We are now in our 3rd tip, and this is be specific.
Yes, I hope you like playing darts, because this is about being focused and specific. You may remember on the first slide, this has been scored number 1 by the successful partners. And be specific, we will repeat it throughout the 2 days. I think it's fundamental. A good application is an application that is unique. It is tailored to the needs of the regions, of the partners that are involved there. And this makes a huge difference from a good application from an average poor application. So this requires sometimes with your partners, this requires a lot of understanding of what the other regions are doing, their regional context. And it's important to be clear and specific everywhere in the application, throughout the application form. At the policy, in the description of the policy instrument, in the description of the regional context, also in the issue addressed. And again, you should never hesitate in provide facts, figures, example of good practices, characteristics of the regions. This makes a huge difference for the quality of the application.
Stefan, who is with us here today, I know you do not represent a lead partner, but could you share with us your experience in relation to this? And also, what would be your main advice for projects on describing the regional policies and territorial challenges in the application form?
Absolutely.
How would they do it?
Absolutely. I mean, although the lead partner has the overall responsibility for writing and submitting a complete and coherent application form, it's very important that all partners contribute significantly to the whole process because, I mean, you're the experts up there. You know your regional needs. You know the specific needs, how to address your policy instruments. So you're the ones who are intimately familiar with your region. So your input is indispensable, literally, for a successful application. A second point maybe I would like to make is that partners' input is also important when it comes to formulating concrete results and impacts that the project as a whole wants to achieve. Because keep in mind, the results and impacts is what you will be measured against. These will be cast in stone for your project. So they need to be ambitious, they need to be realistic and achievable, obviously.
Let's move on to tip number 4. We've heard this, but let's see what it really means. Don't reinvent the wheel.
I think Mr. Borg, in the introduction, he used exactly this wording. So this is all about Interreg Europe. Don't reinvent the wheel. You can really accelerate your regional development through this program. Although we really want you to come to the third call, we are there to encourage everybody to come to the third call. We have also to be transparent. There is a challenge by coming to the third call because you are coming at a moment where 130 projects are already approved. And this is a huge difference compared, for instance, with the first call project. They were coming at a moment where nothing was there. They started from scratch, and it was, in a way, a bit easier for them. So the advice there is that please check what is going on already in this program. You have the website with all the project website available, and we would really recommend you to check what is there so you can explain how your project ID is different from what is already financed. Usually this can be through the topic you address, because maybe it's not already covered, or it can be also by involving new regions, as my Petra mentioned at the end of our presentation. This is also very welcome that you involve new regions. One last point on this is that this innovative character, or don't reinvent the wheel, depends very much on the topic you're going to propose. If you come with very traditional topics like I want to improve the cultural heritage in my regions without further specification, well, there have been so many projects already financed in Europe on this topic, it will be challenging for you to explain how you're different. But if you're coming with, I want to green my public procurement in the domain of infrastructure, okay, this is much more specific, and you should not worry too much with the innovative character of the topic.
Okay. Stefan, your project is a second call project. How did you identify the innovative character in your project to make it different?
We're obviously looked at and identified a number of previous projects which have relevance to our project. And without going into too much detail, I mean, there were projects like Regreen, which looked at green public procurement when it comes to promoting retrofitting of public and private buildings, and a number of them. But obviously, our set of partner regions that we involved was different from the ones involved in those projects. And apart from that, we obviously were much more ambitious and went beyond what has already been achieved by those projects. That was very important.
Perfect, and that would make that different. Our final tip number 5, ask for help.
Yes, last but not least, as we say, and as the Beatles would say sometimes, help me get my feet back on the ground. No, this is very easy tips in a way. You should not be scared, we are there to help. And you can get very high with some of the concepts in this program, policy instruments, focus on structural funds, eligibility rules. So this is sometimes not easy to follow everything, but beyond the program manual where everything is written, people are there to really assist you, to explain you the concept, maybe to adapt them to your regions. So you should never hesitate to contact the Joint Secretariat, where a certain number of tools are also developed. You can ask for an individual consultation. You can use a partner search tool, for instance. Every Friday we have question and answer sessions live, so this is also a kind of useful element to have very specific answer to certain questions. And the last thing I wanted also to mention is the national contact points. Here in the room we have several national points of contacts. If you have any doubts on your national requirements about structural funds, about the bodies in charge of the structural funds, these people are also there to help. So to make it short, please do not hesitate.
Manita, one final thing, but obviously since you're here, it's good to take this opportunity. Which assistance tool have you used during this process?
I fully agree with Nicolas, and we used on the threshold of the application term and the program start, the conference last year in Rotterdam. It's also good to get some information, and for us it was very helpful, the information of the national agent and also the webinar.
Okay. Stefan, I know you were in contact with the Maltese National Point of Contact. How was this useful in your resources?
Yeah, the Territorial Cooperation Unit here in Malta was actually extremely helpful, both in the...
You're not saying this because most of us are Maltese.
I don't see them here.
Okay.
Yes, I see them right there. No.
And we're in Malta.
They were extremely helpful, both in the application phase and now also during the implementation stage. I mean, they made sure we submitted all national documents that are required, so we don't fall into the trap of being ineligible at the end. And now during the implementation stage, they also help us to follow national and program requirements that are existing. Yes.
Thank you so much for your contribution, Nicolas, Manita, and Stefan. Thank you for being with us and also for sharing your experience, as this will be very beneficial for our future.
So we are back in the studio. I hope you enjoyed all our 5 tips how to make your application a success. And during the video, we ran a poll about your interest in our topics. So let's have a look. What kind of people are watching you? What is your interest? Let's have a look. So you can see that we have majority of you interested in environment and resource efficiency. And I think if I ask my policy officer colleague here, that's good news, right?
Yes, because these are the topics that we try to promote now on this third call.
Exactly. So we also welcome applications and ideas from all the other topics, of course. So this is the distribution of you, and we hope you'll enjoy the chatting later on once we finish with our presentations. Let's close the poll and move to your questions. But before we get there, why don't we just repeat what were those 5 tips that Nicolas Sanger, our policy head of the policy unit, was presenting in Malta? So can you just summarize them?
Of course, as you know, there are 5 tips. The first one is be selective. The second one is meet your partners. The third one is be specific. The fourth one is don't reinvent the wheel. And the last one is ask for help.
Thank you, Hassan. So that was just to summarize all those tips that you were watching. And now to your questions. So we have a number of questions that you are sending to us. I have one for you, Hassan. Well, EU Calls, no name, EU Calls, asks, is there an unofficial limit for partners?
Well, usually we recommend that the partnership should be between 5 and 10 partners in order to ensure that the exchange of experience process is efficient. Of course, there are cases where the partnership could be a little bit bigger, but this should be clearly explained in the application form.
Yeah, we usually say that what is small is beautiful, so don't go crazy with partnerships. Am I right?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Another question. We have a question from Victor, who's asking, which is the profile of the leading partners in Interreg Europe? Are they, for example, often regional authorities?
Well, usually we have different types of lead partners. It could be a managing authority, a local authority, but we have also universities. We have to bear in mind that universities can also be lead partners. The only exception is that a non-profit private organization or a partner coming from Switzerland cannot be lead partners.
Okay.
But the rest, there is all type of organizations that as soon as they can participate in the program, they can be lead partners.
Yeah, as long as they are eligible to be our partners, they can be also lead partners. Thank you, great. And we also received a question on Twitter, so thank you for being active on the social media. Hope you are posting all those pictures, how you are watching us. We have a question here for Hassan. Is the second phase obligatory to be included in the application form?
Yes, the second phase is about the monitoring of the action plan. And applicants will see that in the application form is predefined. The second phase has a duration of 2 years and the activities are predefined. They will not be able to add new activities. And this they will see when they fill in the application form.
Yeah, but everybody, all projects have to have phase 1 and phase 2.
Yes,
this has to
phase
be part.
2 is how the partners will implement their action plans and how will in the end improve their policy instruments. Yeah. So it's we say that the first phase is about learning and the second phase is about the monitoring of the lessons learned during the first phase.
Yeah, thank you very much for your replies. And now maybe we can have a look. So thank you, Hassan. Thank you for
Petra.
being here with me, answering all the questions. So thank you very much. We launched in between another poll asking you which of those 5 tips you found the most useful. So let's have a look at the results. So out of our 5 tips, the be specific seems to be the most useful for you. We have a third of you who liked this tip. Many of you also like this don't reinvent the wheel tip. Then we have meet your partners and all the others. Now I will turn to our next speaker, but before that, we also had a question about communication. And as I am representing the communication unit in our program, I'd like to probably reply to it. So we have a question Sophia asked us. Which are the communication activities that can be financed under this program? Should they be appointed in phase 1 or phase 2? So our activities in communication have to be in both parts. That means in the first part, you do communication mainly to engage people. In the second part, you communicate about the results that you are reaching. In phase 2, as Hassan already mentioned, the activities are predefined, so you cannot really change that. But in phase 1, you are free to develop your own communication strategy, so talking to media, being active on a website, these are the activities that we support. I think that answers, at least in general, your question. And now we will move to our next speaker because we talked about one of the tips was to ask for help. And to ask for help means that we have all these different tools that you can use for assistance. And for that, I would ask my colleague Elena Ferrario, our coordinator for projects, to come and show you how you can use all those different tools. So Elena, if you can join me and show our viewers how to use our tools.
Thank you, Petra, and good morning to all. So the Interreg Europe website offers a variety of tools for those that are interested in developing a project idea. And with just a few clicks, in fact, you have access to a whole world of services and information. But before surfing on those tools, I really would like to warmly encourage you that are really online with us today, to update your profile in the Interreg Europe community, to enrich it with information related to your needs and what you're looking for, because that is the best way you can network with your peers, and it's the best way you can make the most out of the Interreg Europe website experience. Now, there are, among the tools that Interreg Europe offers to assist applicants, there are at least 3 that are interactive in a way and are available on the website.
Sorry, I'll just help you a little bit to make the view a little better for our viewers.
Thank you so much. Thank you. These 3 interactive ways are about finding ideas and partners on the website, number 1. Number 2, it's about getting a detailed feedback to your project idea from the Joint Secretariat. And number 3, it's about the all online events that the program organizes during the call for proposal. So let's have a look together and see directly on the website where you can find this information. Let's come and work on the homepage actually of the program, which is interregeurope.eu. And right under the picture of the carousel, you find a link to the 3rd call. So you click right there, and then clicking on Start Here, you land on the page which contains all possible information on the 3rd call for proposal. Among this information, you also find the tools for assisting applicants. You just need to scroll down a little bit on the page, and on the right side of it, you see a call for action box called Find Ideas and Partners. And we are talking about the first point, finding your project idea and finding your partners. If you click on Search Now, you are directed to our very rich database of project ideas and organizations that would like to apply for these ideas. And using the nice filters on the left side of the page, you can very easily select and find what you are looking for in terms of people you want to work with and in terms of project ideas. You just need then to contact them. That's it. Now, going back to the page called interregeurope.eu apply, right there. Scrolling down a little bit more, we can get access to the second type of interactive assistance that I was mentioning to you before, which is getting a detailed feedback to your project idea. And there is another call for action box called "Is your project idea relevant for Interreg Europe?" And if you click on check now, you get directly landed to the page that we call the self-assessment tool. This is a nice tool that very easily drives you in understanding whether your project idea is actually relevant for Interreg Europe. And when you have done this test and your project idea is indeed relevant for Interreg Europe, you can even go beyond this and ask for a detailed, specific feedback to the program staff. How? Very easily, again, going back to the same page, interregeurope.eu/apply, you go to the project idea database, and that is the place where, in fact, you can fill in your project idea form and submit it to the program bodies for them to give you a detailed feedback on this idea. The third and last element I wanted to talk to you about today is our online events, like this one that we are having today. There are a number of online events that are taking place every Friday from 10 to 11 a.m. Central European Time, where the Joint Secretariat staff is available to answer any question related to the third call for proposal. And even perhaps more importantly, we are organizing a webinar week, which is taking place in the last week of April, where every day, again, from 10 to 11 a.m. Central European Time, the policy officer and finance officers of the Joint Secretariat will be able to give even more detailed tips on how to build the best possible Interreg Europe project proposal. So please do join us on those events. So to conclude and sum up, first thing to remember is something related to your own, to the way you work on the Interreg Europe website. Please do update your profile. Please do network with peers and make sure you enrich your information as much as possible. Second point is related to finding your ideas on the project idea database and find potential partners in there. The third is about getting a detailed feedback from the program. You have all you need to do in the project website, in the program website. And finally, do follow up us on the online events that are upcoming in the coming months. Thank you. I give the floor back to Petra now.
Well, thank you, Elena, for this quick demonstration. I hope very useful for all our viewers. Actually, we have a question about this submitting project idea. Victor is asking, we have a project idea we would like to submit to the JTS. We are JS now. Which procedure do you advise us to follow? Do we have to contact them directly?
So if you want to submit a project idea to the Joint Secretariat in order to receive a feedback, as I said, it's very easy. You go to the project idea database available on our website. You can see it here on the screen. So it's under, it's really very easy when you are on the home page of the program right there. Super, sorry, yes. You click on Search for Partners and Ideas. This is the place where you can fill in the project idea form and submit it to the Joint Secretariat. The staff will reply in about 1 or 2 weeks maximum.
So thank you very much. Of course, you need to be a member of our community to do this. We ran a poll during your demonstration where we were checking a little bit how attentive you are to what we say about our partnership details. So let's have a look how you did, and then we get back to a few more questions. So if we can look at the results of the poll. So that looks excellent. We asked you whether Interreg Europe welcomes private non-profit partners. So basically all of you are very good at listening to us. Thank you very much for being so attentive, and thank you also for all your questions. Let's have a look. What else do we have? Elena is also our expert in our projects in general, and we have a number of questions that are related to projects and how to build them. Sure. So, for example, we have a question. Again, Hassan mentioned before that universities can be lead partners. Can you maybe explain a little bit, because Diana seems to be confused about this. Can they be lead partners or not?
Of course. Universities can be lead partners. There is absolutely no difference with any other type of organization that apply to our projects. As long as they are eligible to the program, they can act in the projects as much as other regional or local authorities. They can be involved in two ways, I would say. They can, of course, address a policy instrument if they demonstrate that they are relevant to actually be involved in the policy-making process of that instrument. So they really work with their regional authority or local authority and work together jointly on improving that policy instrument. But also universities, of course, have a specific expertise on certain topics, and they can take the role of advisory partners in that case. This means that the lead partner will be a lead advisory partner, advising the whole partnership on a specific topic.
Yeah. Thank you, Elena. We actually had also a question, what is a policy instrument?
Aha, my favorite.
Yes, that's why I'm mentioning it.
Okay, a policy instrument, what we say is that a policy instrument is a means for public intervention. It is anything that is a regulation, a law, a legislation that is served to rule a specific territorial issue of a country. It can be, for instance, of course, a regional operational program funded by structural funds, but it can also be a local municipal plan for air quality or a waste management plan. Anything like this.
Anything related to improving
regional policies.
Yeah, super. Thank you. We have just a cross-check question. Kalia's asking, what's the deadline for submission of the proposals?
If I remember well, the deadline is the 30th of June 2017 at 12 noon, midi, mezzogiorno, Central European time.
Yes. Paris time. Now we are in summertime, but it's
Paris
time. Yes, thank you. Yeah, and I think maybe one more we can take from Iñaki. Could be tricky. How can we demonstrate the improvement in our regional policy?
So certainly, as my colleague said before, there are different ways you can demonstrate an improvement in regional policies. What we say improvement means change. If you manage to demonstrate that the policy instrument you are addressing has changed thanks to the exchange of experience and learning that you have done through the project lifetime, then this is what we call an improvement. This can take different forms. You can perhaps make some new projects adopted in call for proposals organized within that policy instrument, or you can change the governance of that policy instrument, or you can even add, for instance, a specific measure that was not there before, but you found interesting and relevant coming from the experience of other partners in Europe.
Thank you very much, Elena. I think that we covered plenty of questions that were coming from you. Thank you for the demonstration. So we'll continue now with the rest of the show. Thank you, Elena. There are plenty of questions that are still coming from you, and our moderators plus our additional colleagues are doing their best to reply as many of them as possible. So even though if we are not able to reply to them here in the studio live, speaking with our speakers, we will do our best to get back to you with our replies. And now we have another little video about experience of our forum participants and partnership, which might reply to some of your questions that you've already raised. So enjoy looking at it.
We are a business development organization from Hungary, West Pannone region, operating since more than 10 years ago. We are looking for projects with which we can support our SMEs, the internationalization activities of our SMEs, and also the research and development activities of our SMEs. So mainly we are looking for business development type of project.
I represent the municipality of Saint Vincent in Valle d'Aosta, Italy, and we are trying to organize a project on thermal tourism, and so we are looking for partners here.
My organization is the regional agency of Lazio region, the region of Rome, and support the SMEs creation and the startups. And we are looking for a new project and new cooperation opportunities to work with the other European partners.
Our new project will focus on renewable energy. We want to promote financial instruments for renewable energy sources. So we are looking for specific regions all over Europe who are already working in renewable energy, promoting it by grants, but maybe they are considering to move into financial instruments. For that reason, we are looking for managing authorities or intermediate bodies, people who are managing structural funds and want to analyze their current operative program and move from grants to financial instruments.
In all three projects and in previous projects that we've worked on, it's good to actually bring in new partners. I would say that there's leading partners and there's learning partners, and the sharing of that is excellent. So it's not that each partner will have to do the same thing or necessarily have the same knowledge or same drive. So it's good to have that mixture.
So we are back in the studio. I hope you enjoyed the comments of our participants from Malta and find their tips about partnership useful. This brings us to the end of our first session of this event. That means where we gave you all the information and advice, and now it's time for networking. My moderators have just opened 4 chat rooms in Slido. They are similar to the chat rooms you were using now for questions. So they have all their colors. You can select whichever you like and enter there with other participants and enjoy exchanging with them your ideas or your call for partners or present your organization as a potential partner. Always put your name when you are posting something so that those who see these comments can later on find you in our community. If you just call yourself some invented name, there won't be a possible to do any follow-up on your networking. So enter there, type where it says ask a question or comment just as you were doing during the past hour and enjoy your networking. But that's not all. We will close these chat rooms at 12 o'clock at noon, just in time for lunch. And then we will have a survey opened on our website, and we'll be very happy to hear from you how we did. We would like to get your feedback. Also, you will get the recording of this show, so you can again have a look at what we discussed here, how we replied to your questions in case you missed some of the points that we mentioned. We also encourage you to come back to our other events, just as Elena mentioned, our question and answer sessions that we hold every Friday, or the webinar week that will be at the end of April. And we will also post the chat logs, the transcripts from the chat rooms in case you lost the name that you scribbled down while you were chatting. So come back to our event page and find all this material once you're done networking. And I thank you this way for all your participation, for your attention, and I can only wish you happy networking till the lunch comes. Enjoy and have a lot of good contacts with other people from all over Europe. Enjoy and goodbye. Thank you.
Interreg is a unique program for regions by regions. It allows the regions to learn from each other and to transfer proven good policy solutions to their own regions.
All regions in Europe are aiming for a smart, sustainable and inclusive economy. And I think Interreg Europe is one of the few programs which enables the regions to exchange good practices and learn from each other how to improve the effectiveness of their implementation policy.
Interreg Europe is a program that connects different regional authorities and public authorities from all over Europe.
Building a new Europe, real connected.
It's also a quick way to get new knowledge and learning as well.
I think that the cooperation is the future.
It's very important that we can bring the best practice example of interregional cooperation, internationalization from outside of our region to our country.
Especially in those times as we are at the moment in Europe, it is the more important to show the benefit of cooperation and the value, and that if we go all by ourselves, we are losing.
This is the only program that allows you to exchange experiences with countries very far away from yours. For example, in Spain we can cooperate with France, with Portugal, but not usually with Norway or with Poland or Estonia.
The project gives us funding to get additional resources to work together, to meet and to exchange ideas, and those cooperations, they wouldn't take part without the money.
We actually went to the partnership event in Bologna 2 years ago. There was a similar event to this one that we have here to do matchmaking. And we presented the project, and in fact it turned out there were quite a number of European regions interested in the topic.
The ideas that are shared are excellent, so that it is making a change across Europe.
And the projects that we've seen, in addition to policy impact, which is obviously the initial objective, I've seen that these projects create jobs, they create relationships, and they also address some important themes that are maybe difficult to address by yourself.
And we are back for a little while because we have received some questions through Slido that some of you have trouble finding the chat rooms. So if you have a look at what I have on my screen, I'll guide you to it. So let's have a look. This is what you see when you're asking your questions. So just go up to Europe Let's Cooperate and click on it. Once you click on it, you can see these colorful rooms. Click on any of them. If you are interested in research and innovation, click on it and you show up in exactly the same phase or space as you were before. And we already see that there is Pedro expecting other participants to join and start chatting with him. So go to any of these rooms. You can always go back, select any other room and continue chatting and networking with people in these rooms. I hope this little helpful interruption will help you to go to chatting and enjoy it and do the networking with all the people who are watching us and joined this forum. Enjoy and have fun. Goodbye.